Okay, so number 41, Seated Boxer. It is Hellenistic Greek, which is the last period in Greek art before we start getting into Roman art. So you would associate Hellenistic Greek with the victory at Samothrace, far more dramatic, more movement, and that's certainly the case in this work as well. So Hellenistic Greek circa 100 BCE, it is bronze. It is a bronze copy of a marble original. Turns out there is a Khan Academy video for this, and so I'm going to let them do most of the talking. I'm just going to fill in the gaps that they don't address. Okay, they actually do talk about this, but I wanted to point out the fact that this is made from, as we know, from bronze, lost wax casting, which does allow a great amount of detail. So we can see the detail definitely in the beard, in the hands, the wrapping, and especially in the depiction of the wounds, which are interesting because what happens is that what the artist did was that he inlaid the wounds, the cuts in the ears and in the face with copper to simulate blood. So there's actually two different kinds of metal here. It's not just bronze, it is copper as well. And so we'll see also the cauliflower ear. If you know anything about wrestling, you'll know that when wrestlers have their ears, or fighters in general, wrestlers or boxers have their ears pulled on or beaten too much, they kind of begin to swell up. If you Google it, it's pretty gross. So if we look at this, just so you know, this statue was excavated from Rome in 1885 near the Baths of Constantine. The idea is that it was probably buried in order to save it from the barbarian invasions, of course, because if the barbarians get their hands on that, what are they going to do to it? They're going to melt it down. Because it's bronze and it's metal, it can be used for other things. So he's basically naked. He is actually wearing a bit of a kind of like a jock strap of sorts. You can't see it from this angle. Protective and decorum a little bit, so we don't see him fully naked. I mentioned the copper. You'll say that his eyes are empty, but there were originally eyes in there. They could have been made out of ceramic or glass, but they're just not there anymore. So the statue itself was inspired by this statue of a weary Heracles, another name for pronunciation of Hercules. So what it does is it associates this boxer who is at rest and weary and tired with the weary and tired hero who is victorious. You can see that Heracles has the skin of the lion that he fought hard to get in order to complete his labors. So our boxer is associated with virtue and strength in that process. You can't quite see it in our image again, but there are sections of the rock boxer's right foot and hands that have been worn down slightly because of frequent touching. And so that would be something that would happen with statues that were revered. It's possible that people thought the statues had healing powers, or that was fairly common with statues that were associated with religion and with mythology, or even with great athletes. And so this might be depicting a real athlete. We're not entirely sure. But it certainly is associated with Heracles. It draws that inspiration from Heracles. Right. I don't know if you've ever been in a religious building where there are statues where people will touch a particular part of the statue, but it's a very similar thing. Actually, not similar, it's exactly the same thing. Anyway, I am going to post the Khan Academy video on the website, so you can watch it there or go to Khan Academy yourself. Okay, so Seated Boxer. Wait, one more thing. The reason why I put this together with the next one is because it displays, we're focusing on the depiction of the human and weariness, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that hopefully in class very briefly. But think about strength and weariness in its depiction of this individual in this one as well as the next one that you're taking notes on today. Thanks.